Citizens of the world, it's time to build an empire in Caesar 3 and look at your calendar. Look at the date today. What does the date say? Because it's likely Augustus, the modded version of Caesar 3, got updated today. It's that frequent, and you might not realize it if you've just stuck on the full release build, but the unstable build and the in-development build of Augustus, as you can see, the numbers just keep getting more and more updated, and it just gets better every single day, and it's so easy to miss. And even if you're running Augustus right now, you might not realize that the game has come a long, long way. Just as a quick look at these options menus for Caesar 3. If you've never seen Augustus, then you won't even know that there is an options menu. Look at this. These are now on tabs here. This is all here. Difficulty settings, so many different options here. City management options also on tabs. There's so much stuff here. All of this has been added into the unstable build, and if you're watching this at any point on any date, it will be more advanced than what you think it is, because Augustus sometimes gets updated multiple times a day, let alone every week. So let me show you what you might have already missed. So here we are in the game. Look at this. This is wonderful Lugdunum, and so much stuff has changed. If you don't know, one of the earliest things, roadblocks, look at this little highlighting of things when you mouse over. That's a brand new feature as I'm making this video. That wasn't in here like last week. That's been added. And all of these things tend to be options. Look at this thing. What even is this? It's a temple of Ceres Facunda. It's a grand temple, essentially a monument of some kind. Zooming, did you know Augustus can zoom? Look at this, weather. Weather has been added. There's rain going on right now. And what's this? City Mint? It's a whole new building that turns gold. Gold? A whole new resource that can be processed into either, well, gold bars or turned into money and traded. There's all of that good stuff. Now, in terms of this, the cart pushers, you may see, one of my favorite things is that they will actually redirect on the fly. So if, for example, there's some plague in the city, that's a whole other thing as well. If, for example, the cart pusher is going to a faraway granary, let me try and demonstrate this. If I set this to, if I just disable this granary, and then watch a cart pusher from one of these farms, they'll have to deliver to a much further granary if they have access to one anyway. Oh, that granary is actually full. Let's just try and make sure some of this food does move along here, because we need some space over here. Okay, there we go. The cart pushers are all heading on over to the far granary, but what if I reactivate? By the way, mothballing buildings, that's a whole new feature as well. But watch this. They'll just turn right around. Oh, they're not stuck going across to the other side of the map. Also, you might see these ox carts moving around. Look at this. These are now more efficient cart depots to move things around, so you're not just relying on the getting of things. So that's also going very nicely as well. Also, warehouses. Look at all these controls. You can enable and disable exactly who can access any of these storage units. And you can do special orders for partitioning, how much can fit into a specific thing. Look at that, bricks, a whole new resource. There's just so much stuff. New decorations. You might notice these statues, these hedges. These statues now run water if they have access to the water table. See, this one doesn't have a fountain. This one does have a fountain. Little things like that, really nicely done. Certain buildings can be upgraded to higher levels. So, like this academy, it's on a higher level. This school is an upgraded school. This is a new entertainment building called a tavern. See how this theater has a few extra decorations because desirability is high. But if you were to look at, let's say, a theater somewhere else, which does not have as much desirability, it doesn't have those decorations. Certain buildings now have additional upgrades. All of this is just really, really nice. Not just that, you might have noticed the UI is all different as well. Look at the top. These are all showing personal funds there. It goes green when you can do a large gift. These ratings are up here, but also you can have additional info on the right. You can store and stockpile resources for for requests right here. It's snowing! Snow has been added to the game that plays in winter months. There's no current mechanical gameplay effects to weather, but they are nice visual additions. What else? We've got a new advisor. There's a housing advisor that can show you all of this total residences, available capacity. This is not part of the vanilla game. There's also more things. For example, you can hold games. There's naval games, Roman games, animal games, but you need the Colosseum to do that. And a lot of things have been changed to be mini monuments. So, for example, oracles. Oracles need some marble and concrete. Concrete is a whole other type of thing, a resource that cannot be stored. It needs to be delivered straight away. And to construct those things, you need to have like worker camps and building things. So, for example, these grand temples here, or if I were to build something like a mausoleum, which, as you can see with these new visual overlays, you can see it's bad desirability nearby, but good desirability further away. So this is useful if you want to, for example, build a mausoleum here to add a bit more desirability to these villas. But you see, if you place it down, it's a construction site where you need to have an architect's guild for some engineers to come through. I'm just looking for some space to pop this down. An architect's guild and a work camp to go grab the resources, and they'll be delivered and constructed over time. The concrete will be delivered in real time from the concrete makers. You can see they've all begun manufacturing here because they make concrete to demand. There's a lot of extra difficulty options as well. If you go to the new settings and difficulty, there's lots of stuff that makes things easier and harder. You can limit the number of grand temples. You can randomly collapsing pits and mines. They just take money, so you don't have to rebuild them. Speaking of rebuilding, they've been working on a new repair area button. So when things burn down or get destroyed by invasions or anything, you can just click on the rubble and it'll reconstruct the thing. Look, a new entertainment building as well, arena. And the world map. The world map is now overhauled as well. Look at this. We've got this sidebar. You can sort by name, export quota, import quota, root cost, profit, and you can filter for certain resources. Lots of nice UI improvements. For example, if you mouse over a resource, it will highlight the other resources on the side there. You can see the oil is now flashing on all of the oils. If I'm looking at, for example, olives, you can see, oh, other places sell olives. And you can click on these to highlight where the cities are on the map. So you're not just clicking through here, you can click through here. Isn't that good? And you can see show prices here. It also indicates whether it's a land or sea trade route, things that weren't always clear. And it's animated. Look at all these dots moving around. It's good, isn't it? So also, of course, these mods do get you into widescreen as well, and you can see these backgrounds all fit very nicely. And oh yeah, there's the caravanserai, the lighthouse. So much stuff. If you didn't know, Caesar 3 has been updated to a modern game. Look at these moving cloud shadows. Isn't that nice? Look at these new gardens. So Augustus came along because Bianca spent 10 years making an open source port for Caesar 3, a whole new engine, but re-implementing the original game, but just smoother and running better. But because it's a whole new engine, it was completely moddable. And that means that anyone could take the source code and start doing whatever they wanted with it. And over the last few years, Caesar 3 has had the Julius branch, which is the vanilla open source re-implementation. And the main point of Julius is that your original saves in vanilla original Caesar 3 would work in Julius. But for Augustus, it goes full on into a whole new upgraded modded thing. So vanilla saves will not work in Augustus, but Augustus is this complete re-implementation using modern ideas, future impressions, games ideas from Pharaoh, Zeus, and Emperor, and so much more to turn Caesar 3 into a modern game. Even scrolling around here, like, it's smooth scrolling, and the zoom is nice and smooth. There's a lot of modern games that don't even have this kind of smooth scrolling here properly implemented, which you can see in games releasing right now. They won't have it, because I know whenever you watch this video, this will still be true. So, Augustus is huge. You can see there some plague has spread, and they have to be disinfected by doctors.
Greetings. There's a real shortage of workers here.
And that's working very nicely as well, because these new mechanics, there's even this new sentiment mechanic. So you can't just have some tents while other people live in villas. It will make them really unhappy. If I check the risks and sickness, this is a whole new sickness system where disease spreads through goods being transported and stuff. So there's a new plague and disease mechanic. So the busier areas will get sicker than not. And there's just so much stuff that I can't even go over just in this video. There's new units. There's now bows and swords that you can have for stuff. To have an army, you need to have a supply post which grabs food to feed your army, which keeps them well fed and better. You know, that makes them stronger. There's latrines. You want a latrine? You can have a latrine now. Look at that. A latrine. A Roman latrine. So that's a thing. Like, there's the lighthouse monument, which helps with trade. There is the caravanserai monument, which also helps with land trade, not just sea trade. And just going through every single option. There's autosaves there, that's good as well. And, oh, one of the best things, rebindable hotkeys. You can rebind hotkeys with a main key and an alternative for all of these things. It's just amazing. And if you have not noticed, then Augustus is actually better than you think. Even if you are using Augustus right now, check the unstable build, because things are likely different. Because if it's been a day, Augustus unstable build has been improved. So yeah, it's now, there's no point in waiting. Just jump into Augustus and you can play it right now. There's no point in waiting for the next update or the next main build, because it's just gonna be improved the next day anyway. So there's no end point right now for the game getting better. And really, at this point, Caesar 3 has become on par with many modern games. Just especially because of how frequently it's updated and bug fixed. If you ever find a bug, it's likely fixed in less than a week, if that. So yeah, I do want to encourage everyone to jump into Caesar 3 again. If you haven't played Caesar 3 in a long time, what I would recommend is you get Julius and then play through the original campaign. And then you can get the Reconquered campaign. So this creator called Marek redid the entire campaign. You can see here, this is Lugdunum, but not as you know it. Lugdunum has been reworked, and it's remade the maps to take into account the features of Augustus. So what you can do is you play through the original campaign with Julius, then you play through the Reconquered campaign with Augustus, and it's like a new game plus. It's a whole new experience, and it really just more than doubles the amount of enjoyment you can get from Caesar 3. So this is where I show you how to install and update Augustus. And here you are on the GitHub page, and you can see it's hosted by Keryu, Augustus, and this looks very confusing if you've never done this before. But ignore all of this stuff, scroll on down, and you see these nice colored buttons here. And you can see there's a number of things you can look at here. And there's the latest release, which is the full release, you could say, but this gets outdated pretty quickly. The unstable build might be surprisingly stable for you. Now, they just call it an unstable build as a disclaimer, but for the most part, I've never really had any major problems. Sometimes there's the odd bug or stuff, but this gets updated almost every day, if not multiple times a day. And you can see the latest version, for the full release, doesn't even have this new 64-bit version. Now, 64-bit doesn't add a lot of functionality right now, but it does open up a lot more possibilities. And this unstable build is what you need to download. You need to click this. So this, you see this code here, this will be updated and changed most likely by the time you watch this video. Actually, guaranteed. By the time you watch this video, this would have been updated. You want to click this and download that. But also, if you're using the unstable build, you also need the development assets. So click this as well, and it will download both of these. Now, if you get any security warnings or anything, as long as you're on the official GitHub Augustus page, this is safe. There are often false flags from antiviruses or whatever. So this stuff is safe. Just make sure you're on the correct real page for Augustus. Now, once you download these two things here, you're going to have these two right there. There's the Augustus, and this is the development assets. Now, these need to be extracted. These are zip files, and Windows should be able to extract these no problem. You just right-click them, and then you can just click Extract All, and it's going to ask you where you want it to be. You can just leave this all default for now and extract. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a folder. And if you open this folder, you'll see that this is Augustus in here. But I'm going to minimize that. You need the assets from this one. So if you go ahead and open this, so you can open this in 7-zip or WinZip or WinRAR or whatever, and you can get this assets folder, and you can just drag it into this new Augustus folder. Alternatively, you can do the same and extract all of the assets onto your desktop as well. And you get this folder here, where if you open that, there's the assets folder in there. So what you want is this assets folder here, which has all of these graphics and stuff. So what you can do is you can select the assets folder, Control X if you want, or you could do some dragging and dropping, but I'm going to Control X to grab that and open up the Augustus folder where there's this Augustus application exe file. And I'm just going to Control V there. So the assets folder is with the Augustus exe. So there's the Augustus exe, there's the assets folder. And now when you run Augustus exe, as long as you have Caesar 3 installed, I recommend the GOG version. There's a referral link down below. GOG version just works a bit better. But the Steam version should work okay, but also the old CD versions should work okay. You just have to make sure it's patched to the latest version. But when you run this, it might ask you where Caesar 3 is installed, but if you have already run Augustus in the past, this should just work. And now you have this Augustus folder with the assets folder in there, and the other three things you can just delete. I'm just gonna delete those three things. So we have this Augustus folder on our desktop. You can place this anywhere you like. I'm just gonna leave it here on the desktop, and I can then run Augustus no problem. And it might say Windows is protecting your PC and stuff. This is an unknown publisher because obviously this is not an official thing, so I'm gonna run it anyway. And there you go, it runs Caesar 3, and I can skip these intros, and there you are in the game, Augustus, and the version number is in the bottom left corner. So yeah, there you go. Whatever year it is right now, Augustus is now better than you think, and I think it's time to jump back in if you haven't already. All right, thank you all so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this little showcase. I, of course, have a big playthrough of Caesar 3 on the channel for the original game, for Julius, for Augustus. There's lots of Caesar 3 content on this channel, and just going into... Oh, look at that. Just a convenient send request button right here. Isn't that nice? Bam, done. And you can check out so much more on this channel for Caesar 3, for other city building content, and so much more. Do subscribe if you want to keep up with all of that. Like this video if you like Caesar 3, or just you like this video. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, get Caesar 3 or any other game on GOG using the referral link down below. You can follow on Patreon for more bonus content. And thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.